Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Rant and Chill. On this channel, I like to rant and I like to chill. And I can't believe this happened here. You have a situation where a substitute teacher said she was fired for not respecting the identity of her student. It wasn't a situation where a boy, clearly a boy, claimed to be a girl, or a girl clearly looks like a girl claimed to be a boy. No, none of that. It was a kid who claimed to be a cat, the identity of a cat, and that the substitute teacher, wouldn't meow back and was thus fired. Now, this could be made up. However, I used to work at a psych facility, and I saw that stuff firsthand. Of course, I didn't humor that. The people I worked with didn't humor that. It's like, okay, well, you're not. I mean, you are a person. You're not a cat. But see, this is where the reason why I want to talk about this. I mean, whether or not the teacher is making this up or not, the important thing is that this is where this goes. This is where this confusion about gender goes. You know, we're gonna play the clip, talk about it, and then we'll get more into what I think is the bigger problem here. All right. So let's go and put it on the screen, and let's give it a play.
Okay, I've got to rant for a minute. Just when I thought school couldn't get any weirder, it did today. I'm a sub, and the most important thing we do is take roll so the school gets paid. Oh, I'm looking at the seating chart as I'm going up and down the rows and marking who's here and who's not. I get to the third row and I hear this meow. Excuse me? Excuse me? I start looking on the ground. Go to the fourth row, everything's good. Go to the fifth row, everybody's there. Then I hear meow. I'm like, okay, what's up with that? Who's doing it? And this little girl in the very front row says, you have to meow back at him. He identifies as a cat. Are you kidding me? Said, is there a litter box in here somewhere?
See?
My sarcasm self probably shouldn't.
I would have said a joke like that too. I would have said a joke like that and been like, you know, what's the problem? What sort of bad consequence could come out from that? Clearly, the kid is not a cat, and he needs a reality check for someone to tell him, "Look, you're not a cat. I mean, we're not doing this. We're not entertaining these delusions here." But we'll get into that.
And I've said that. He gets up and he storms out of the classroom, and I'm like, rough. And of course, the entire class is laughing. And I think, no problem, no foul. I go to the office. You ready for this? You check out. They said, we no longer need your services if you can't identify with all the children in the classroom. And you wonder why they don't have any subs. I told the lady, I said, I didn't know cats were considered people. I thought they were pets.
Right? And they are. Cats are pets. But, okay, if this is real, this is completely absurd, and the people at the school need to it's past growing a spine. Actually, if this is real, then that school is hopeless. And if your kids go to a school like that, homeschool. That is the only solution at that point. All right. And how do you know? Well, if you have a kid in school, kind of gauge it. Kind of talk to them about what they learn. Talk to them about what their experiences in class and what and if you start getting some things that seem kind of weird and troubling, then yeah, definitely make the right call. You got to do what's right for your kids. Now, if you are the parent of a kid that identifies as a cat, what's going on there? I don't want to blame you necessarily, because it could just be like mental illness. Could be like the cat. I'm doing it. Could be the kid just playing around or whatever. I don't know. But you have to know something, right? I mean, you have to. I'm curious about the parents in this situation. Are they aware that their kid is doing this? Do they humor it as much as the school does? And if so, they're at fault. If the parents are enabling and encouraging this kid to identify as a cat, then they're at fault too. Okay, this is a situation that shows where this identity stuff goes, or how far it can go. It can go even further. Look, there's two genders, male, female. That's not even false science. That's real science. That is the truth. Any other channel pumping out that there's 23, 26, 1,000. I've been told there's endless genders, any gender you want. It's fluid. but it's like there's two, and at most, if you want a third, okay, hermaphrodite. But okay, but usually one genitalia is more dominant than the other. Actually, dominant to where it actually works. But it does. Okay, look, there's two. There's two genders, gender, sex, whatever. To me, they're the same. And the term gender was created by a social science, I believe it was social science, a gender studies person. So not even a real scientist, someone who just sits on their ass and thinks overthinks things regarding to gender. So no real science, no real data. In fact, if you go into the psychology and social sciences about like gender, like boys and girls and them trying to gender bend, they've been trying to do that for decades, and it has not been going well. There's studies that resulted in suicide, resulted in the participants killing themselves because it's just absolutely flawed. Look, there's boys, there's girls, there's men, there's women. It doesn't matter what you believe you are. Like, you could be a boy and believe you're a girl. Okay, fine. I used to, there was a point when I believed I was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. There was a point, no joke, I used to think I was Mega Man. Okay? It doesn't make any sense. I could try to make it make sense, but it doesn't make any sense. So that's right, Mega Man from the video games, on the Nintendo. You know what I'm talking about. It is, clearly I'm not. Am I metal? Am I metallic? Am I blue? Do I have a gun arm? Is that happening? No, that's not happening. And it would be completely insane for my parents to encourage that, or for the school to encourage that. But here you have it where boys feel like they're girls because they feel like they're girls, even though they're clearly boys. And because people are going to bring up, oh, what about those that are kind of like, you can't really tell what they are? Stop. You really can. Are you talking about like with the Pat situation, like an SNL, it's Pat? Like what is it? Yeah, I mean, every now and then you run into that person that's so androgynous that it's like, what are you really? I can't really tell. That's not a flaw of the science regarding sex. I mean, it's like, well, what do they have between their legs? Okay, what's going on there? It's clear. And look at their shoulders a little closely. Are they broad? Look at how their physique a little bit, and you could tell. But even if you run into those situations, it doesn't make it, oh, okay, well, we got to get rid of the science around sex and all that, because clearly it's obvious that it's. I mean, it makes sense. There's boys, girls, men, women. I mean, you see this across every species. Why would humanity be any different? Why would humans be any different? I mean, it's insane to me. But I've seen it firsthand working in a psych facility where people will identify as absurd stuff like animals or angels or whatever. And then I've heard about it from people online where they will identify as animals, like other kin. That's where this leads to. That's where this entertaining the delusion that you could just be whatever you want based on your feeling. That's where this leads to. As soon as you start comforting and encouraging people and telling them it's okay, and you start buying into, or start actually accepting that their delusion, that they are what they believe they are, even though they clearly not. When you start doing that, it creates a path, leads a pathway right towards, okay, so you have boys that identify as girls, but then later on you're going to have kids who identify as animals, and then you're going to have kids who identify as other things. I mean, it's in the pipeline, guys. It might sound absurd, but the next thing is going to be, okay, well, humanity's a construct. What does it mean to be a human? And that whole construction, that whole argument is total bullshit. Just because something is a construct doesn't mean it's bad or it's something that isn't applicable. Just about everything is a construct. And the words we use to communicate are constructs. We created them. Why are they the way they are? Why are we using the words that we use? Why the certain sound patterns? Everything can be considered a construct. It doesn't mean it needs to be taken down or torn down, or it's not applied, or it's not useful in any way. A lot of these things, most of these things, are extremely useful. But, I mean, you guys know. I'm preaching to the choir here. You guys are really smart. You guys know. This is where it leads to, man. This is where it leads to. I mean, like going back to this situation with this school teacher. If this is true, shame on the school. Fire everybody in the school. I don't want to hear anything else. Just fire them. Fire them all. Purge that school because they have lost it. They have lost it. But if it's and also take the kids out of school, homeschool. That'd be the more realistic solution there. But if it's not true, well, then that would be an attention, an attention-seeking moment, wouldn't it? But it does raise the question because it is something that you do see. I've seen it. You probably have seen it. You probably heard about it, where kids will, not just kids, but adults will actually believe that they are a dog or a cat. It makes no sense, but people enable that. And if you enable those delusions and entertain those delusions, you're feeding right into it. All it takes is having a spine and say, no, that's not true. Just say no. That's it. You know what's right. Anyway, with that said, let me know what you guys thought about this in the comment section down below. Y'all take it easy.